good morning. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining another episode of What's Happening in My New Reselling Life. Today I want to talk about dresses. Now, to some of you that might seem basic, but please understand, as a new reseller, trying to learn all the different dress categories, styles, necklines, even sleeves, sometimes can get a little overwhelming. So I've had to do a little research on that subject. So forgive me if you are a dress expert. I certainly am not. So with that being said, I'm just going to share with you some of the things that I've had to learn lately, because we're all in the never-ending quest for the perfect descriptive listing, right? And the keywords is a big point that everyone talks about. You have to have certain keywords so you show up in the search algorithms and so forth. So with that being said, that's part of my trial and error process over this last 6 months or so, trying to hone in on those skills a little bit and be able to identify certain items so I can better describe them. So I'm going to start with some of the very, very basics today. We're talking about dresses. I've mentioned in a previous episode that I love dresses, especially the sparkly, pretty ones. And if I can get them sourced reasonably priced, I can sell them fairly well. Again, not for super high profit margins, but I can sell in volume. And I particularly like to give, people the opportunity to dress up from time to time, perhaps on a budget, because most people only wear these beautiful frilly dresses once or twice. I just want to be able to provide that service. Plus, it's something I love. I hold them very near and dear to my heart. And if I were young again, I would wear all of these styles. But that's a whole different topic. So again, getting back to the dresses and some of the basics that I've had to learn along the way. Again, I'm going to start simple. A lot of this is very common knowledge to a lot of you, so thanks for hanging in there with me. You have the mini dress. Minis, you can think mini skirt, are the short dresses that usually sit on the upper thigh. That's a keyword. People generally want to know the length of the dress. Midi, it's usually can be anywhere between mid-thigh to below the knee. I used to use the term knee length. Then I realized, well, what if you're 6'2"? Your knee length and my 5'3" knee length is going to be completely different. So I started using these more generic terms: the mini, the midi, the maxi. Maxi dresses are probably self-explanatory. They're the longer dresses that usually lay around the ankles. And then you've got the cocktail dress. Cocktail dresses are actually a little shorter than the mini. They're about 36 to 40 inches in length, but they're just that, think of your little sassy black dress that every woman has. And then you of course have the formal wear, which is the gowns, the ball gowns, prom dresses in a lot of cases, things like that. So I have a few examples behind me. Unfortunately, I don't have examples of every particular length, but we can kind of talk about it and get a basic idea. I will have a thumbnail up or a little, presentation PowerPoint thing that will kind of highlight these topics. There are so many different types of styles out there. I cannot even begin to highlight on all of them. But what I'm hoping to do is maybe just capture my top 5 to 8 different styles that I see and that I'm able to move fairly well. So the first thing is A-line. A-line is, again, pretty self-explanatory. It usually starts off a little narrower at the shoulders, and think of the letter A, and then we'll fan out a little bit from that direction. I see a lot of A-line dresses. I also see a lot of bodycon. Bodycons, again, if I were able, I would be all about those. They're a little bit more form-fitting, really give you a nice silhouette. Things that, most people are looking for if they're just going out for the evening or just want a nice classy dress that's not going to be too out there, but just very, very flattering. Bodycon is another one of those styles that do that. Fit and flare, similar to the A-line, but it's more fit in the bodice and then flares out at the bottom. A lot of those have higher waists sometimes. We can do a whole video in and of itself of the different waist styles. That'll be for another day, but just to give you the big picture, there's a lot of detail that can go into a dress, especially when you're looking for those descriptive words. As I was saying, there's a lot of different styles to dresses and things to take into account when you're trying to do a descriptive listing. Again, trying to keep it basic here. I'm just going to really focus on lengths and styles. The next thing that I see a lot of are shifts. Shifts are just very basic, comfortable designs. They're a little roomy. You can wear them, out and about. You can do, I call them, day to dinner type dresses. You can just wear them during the day to work, meet up with some friends for dinner afterwards and still feel appropriate. A sheath is a little bit similar to a shift, just slightly more defined. They're a little bit more form-fitting in the bodice than that. Pencil dresses are kind of like what they sound. They're a very slim-fitting dress, a narrower cut that just, again, gives you a very narrow and thin silhouette. Sundress, it's summer here, so I know those, at least for me, have been selling very, very well. Sundress, again, are pretty self-explanatory. They're the little either spaghetti strap or a little wider strap dresses. They just have a little flair to them. Something you could just throw on casually, go to a farmer's market, a cute little sun hat, or you could go to a concert in one of these. Outdoor concerts are the best. These dresses are just very multifunctional. You can wear them to a lot of different things. And of course you can find them dressier, and then you can find them more casual on wide spectrum on those. And again, the formal dresses is the last and final thing that I'll touch on. But again, I do look for formal dresses this time of year, thinking it's June right now, thinking, well, prom season is in a couple of months, and I know that seems like a ways away, but if I can capture a good supply of prom dresses ahead of that homecoming season, I know I can do very, very well. And then of course you always have the club dresses. I like to wear it. You're going out and you look good, and you look good. You just feel good. So I love those dresses as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little more in-depth look at the types of dresses that I've recently selected, and maybe tell you a little bit about the dress and why I chose it. Again, I'm going to try and keep it as basic as possible because we can talk about everything from necklines to waistlines, and I don't want to get overwhelming for you and myself, because I want this video to make sense to you, and I want you to be able to take something away. But before we get into that, I have a little trivia question for you. Can you tell me at the 2023 Oscars who had the most expensive dress and how much did it cost? You'll have to tune into my next video, which is going to be about vintage, to hear that answer, but I would love to get your comments. Hey everyone, we're back again. Sorry this is kind of a long frame, but I wanted to show you completely the first dress that I selected. This of course would be a formal. I have my lights on. Don't think you can quite see all the fancy sparkle from here, but it is a beautiful, beautiful dress. It has little beading all the way down, and it is obviously a one shoulder dress. This would be a maxi formal in black, really pretty. I don't know if you can see this, hopefully high slit, very, very elegant. This would be something that you would wear certainly out to a formal location, maybe even prom, but I look at it and I think, I don't know, the ballet or opera, something very high class and elegant. So this is the first dress that I wanted to talk about. Again, to give you an idea of a maxi dress, this is a long dress. If I had to guess, I'm going to grab my tape measure, which is a 60-inch. I have to go clear to the top here to get my length. So this is going to be right about 56 inches in length. So again, very long, very dressy, very elegant dress. So this is what I would consider to be midi dresses. Do you see? I sure hope that I am capturing all the sequins detail on this and the beading. It is so pretty. You'll see midi dresses, again, we're talking about length more so than style, tend to go either above the knee slightly or below the knee. Both of these dresses are going to be below the knee, so I would likely call both of those middies. This would be more of a shift style, whereas this would be more of an A-line. And this is a really pretty dress. I actually found it new with tags. I love it. It is just very, very elegant, very sheer. It's lined. Both of these have zip backs. Really nice detail even to the back. So if you see any of these dresses that you like, you know where to find them, right? This burgundy, again, is beautiful. It is just, it's simple yet elegant. Again, you could wear this out to dinner, to a really nice restaurant, anniversary type thing. Beautiful, beautiful dresses. Next, we're going to talk about some bodycons. So let me get those for you. Here are my bodycons. You can see, again, they come in different lengths. This one would certainly be a mini, whereas this one would be a midi. But oh my goodness, this dress is so, so pretty. It would just hug every curve, and it has a really sexy back, at least sexy in my terms, just very, very demure, very, you know, you want to be noticed, but you don't want to be the center of attention dress. This is the perfect dress, which is one of the reasons why I chose it. I think bodycons are something a lot of people lean towards. These two dresses are what I would call sheaths. Sheaths and shifts can sometimes be a little bit confusing, at least for me, maybe because they sound similar. But sheaths, what I have learned, are a little bit more form-fitting. You can tell these ones are kind of tapered in a little bit at the waist. So a sheath for me would be something that is more hourglass shape. And I think that this would represent that well. So I would use, again, the word sheath in any description that I had. I would point out as much detail as possible. This one has a lot of sequins on it. It's very pretty, sparkly. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's quite elegant. A zip back. This does not have a padded bust to it, so I would note that. This one, again, I would call a maybe day to dinner type dress. I always try and note or at least mention what the closure is. This particular dress, it's a tie. It has no zippers. Oh, but look, it's a little form-fitting around the booty. Low back, and it will emphasize your assets. It's quite beautiful. It's a pretty dress. So maybe I wouldn't wear it to work. Maybe. Depends on where you work, right? But it is pretty with the lace detail and the tie back and the fitted back. Again, I can feel this is not lined, so I would mention that. And again, this would be a very, very nice, stunning example of sheath dresses, in my opinion. Okay, so what you'll see here are examples of middies. Again, different styles. But what I find most interesting about these pieces are there's indicators that these actually might be new with tags, although I cannot be certain. So whenever I'm in doubt, I don't like listing things new without tags, because I think there leaves too much room to question, is it really new or is it used? So I tend to refrain from saying new without tags as much as possible. But these ones I will have to contemplate. This one I don't think, because I don't think this gives me enough. All they have here is this little white thing. Maybe you can see it on my blue shirt. But like I said, I hesitate saying new without tags because I can't prove it was never worn. This one, on the other hand, perhaps it still has, with the manufacturer attached, it has little accessories that go with this one. So this one I might, but again, I usually really reserve that when I am 100% certain that it's never been used. Even if you try it on in a store, and sometimes I've noticed there's tags still on it, but there's maybe not price tags per se, but you can just tell someone has at least tried it on. And I don't want it ever to come back as, item not as described, because we all know in the world, particularly of eBay, that's not something that you want to have. So I very rarely will say new without tags, but this might be an exception. And I chose it again because it's very versatile. You could wear it to a lot of different events. It has the beading. It has a cute little ruffle design back here and a deep scoop neck, or excuse me, back. I've noticed that dresses that expose a lot of the back are very popular for me, so I can sell those frequently. Okay, again, I saved the best for last. These cute little minis. Oh my goodness, I love them. There's so much sparkle and detail and personality to these dresses. I love them. This one has a cute little kind of keyhole cutout, or something like that. Very beautiful. It has a nice velvety feel to it. It appears that all of its rhinestones are still attached. It is a very, very pretty dress. This one is my absolute favorite. Again, if only, look at this detail. Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Beautiful back. Very elegant. Yet there's a certain sort of sophistication to it. It is just beautiful. Again, it has this is kind of like a pleated gathered detail over padded busts. Zip back. It's definitely a mini. So gorgeous. It has clips also for that high neck. It is lined. All of these are features that I would point out in any listing. In addition to pointing out all of those details, I always, in every listing that I have a little disclaimer, a little example of a midi, again, or a mini. Minis should be about thigh high. Again, we've already established that depends on how tall you are. So I always encourage any potential buyer to know their measurements, or at least measure a garment that they love so they know the appropriate length of the item in which they're looking for. And I just, again, a mini, this is theoretically, it should sit above the knee. Middies, slightly above the knee, below the knee. Maxis, around the ankles. Formals, ball gowns, again, around the ankles. So I always tell people that way I can't, again, hopefully, not get an item as not described, because I tell them, generally speaking, this is the range, this length should fit on you. Know your measurements and know approximately where that dress is going to fit on you should you purchase it. And I think that just makes her a happier customer too. I think we can educate the best we can, but I think also if we encourage them maybe to take a little bit of ownership and kind of knowing their own measurements, that would be helpful. And if any of you have any advice on that, please let me know, because I know that's a big thing among a lot of resellers, is people not necessarily paying close attention to the description or the lengths and the measurements and so forth. So if you found a way or any verbiage in any of your listings that might encourage people to take a more proactive approach at choosing their items, I would appreciate it. But for the most part, that kind of wraps up our little day-to-day as far as our episode on dresses. But I want to remind you to please, in the comments, let me know who you think, which celebrity had the most expensive and most extravagant ball gown at the 2023 Oscars. I'd really love to hear your comments on that, and any feedback or comments or suggestions you have on this video. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll take it all to heart, and maybe we can help each other learn. So again, thank you so very much for spending this little bit of time with me. I hope it was helpful and not too repetitive for all you experts out there. So thanks, you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Video number 1, dresses, different types of empire waists and so forth. Pause video. Delete that whole last clip. So we're going to give this another try. I think I'm on take 3. So I'm going down that bunny trail, so let me stay on topic. The next thing So anyway, who in 2023 Oscars had the best, most expensive, exquisite dress out of all of those celebs? Please let me know if you please tell me if you know. Video number 4, I think. We'll figure it out. A lot of people lean towards, just because they can, well, they can be two things. They can either be really, really flattering or not so flattering, which is why, again, as I said, if I were younger and maybe 30 pounds lighter, I would be that. But again, we're talking about the lengths. This would be a midi bodycon, and, excuse me, a mini bodycon, and this would be our, skip that, clip number 4 or 5. Super bodycon-y, but enough to just have a very elegant and suave. Stop.